Success is not complicated. It is not reserved for the lucky. It is not something that only a select few are destined to achieve. Success is simple, but not easy. Success comes down to one thing: work. Every single day. No shortcuts, no secrets, no easy paths. Just consistent focus, disciplined work. And that is why most people never make it. Not because they are not talented enough, not because they do not have the resources, but because they are not willing to put in the work when it matters most. Most people wake up every day and wait for motivation. They wait to feel ready. They wait for the perfect conditions. They wait for life to get easier. And that is why they stay stuck. Because motivation is not reliable. It comes and goes. And if you are only willing to work when you feel like it, you will never get anywhere. The people who succeed, they work whether they feel like it or not. They show up even when they are tired. They execute even when things are hard. They wake up every day and push themselves, not because it is easy, but because they refuse to settle for a life of mediocrity. And this is where most people fail. They tell themselves they are working hard. They convince themselves they are doing enough. But deep down, they know they are leaving something on the table. They know they are holding back. They know they could be doing more. And that is the gap between those who succeed and those who struggle. The ability to push through that resistance. The ability to work harder than everyone else, not for a week or a month, but consistently for years. Hard work is not glamorous. It is not exciting. It is not easy. It is showing up early and staying late. It is sacrificing comfort for progress. It is doing the work when no one is watching. It is pushing yourself to exhaustion and then finding another gear. It is staying disciplined when the results are not showing yet. It is making progress when no one else sees it. And that is why so few people reach the highest levels of success, because they are not willing to endure the discomfort that hard work demands. People love to talk about success. They love to talk about their goals, their ambitions, their plans. But when it comes to actually doing the work, day after day, week after week, year after year, they fold. They get distracted. They lose focus. They allow small setbacks to stop them. And that is why most people spend their lives talking about success instead of living it. Because talking is easy. Planning is easy. Working is hard. And the people who win, they're the ones who stop talking and start doing. And here's the truth. Hard work will always beat talent when talent refuses to work. You can be the most talented person in the room, but if you are outworked by someone who is more disciplined, more consistent, more focused, you will lose every time. Because talent without work is wasted potential. And the people who succeed at the highest level are not always the most gifted. They are the ones who are willing to work harder than everyone else. Hard work is the great equalizer. You cannot control where you were born. You cannot control how much natural talent you have. You cannot control the opportunities you were given, but you can control how hard you work. You can control how much effort you put in. You can control how disciplined you are. And if you are willing to wake up every day and outwork everyone around you, there is no limit to what you can achieve. But here's the problem. Most people are not willing to work that hard. They say they want success, but they are not willing to pay the price. They want the rewards without the sacrifice. They want the results without the effort. They want to be great, but they are not willing to endure the process that greatness requires. And that is why most people stay average. That is why most people talk about success, but never reach it. Because they're waiting for it to be easy, and it will never be easy. The people who win, they wake up every day and do the work. No excuses, no hesitation, no waiting. They know that success is not about motivation. It is about discipline. They know that the secret to unstoppable success is not talent or luck. It is the ability to work harder, longer, and smarter than everyone else. And that is the difference. That is the edge. That is what separates the ones who succeed from the ones who do not. So the question is, are you willing to work harder than everyone else? Are you willing to sacrifice comfort for progress? Are you willing to push yourself even when you feel like quitting? Because that is the price of success. That is the price of greatness. That is the price of becoming the best version of yourself. And if you are not willing to pay that price, you will never reach your full potential. But if you are willing to work harder than everyone else, if you are willing to push through discomfort, if you are willing to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term success, then there is nothing you cannot achieve. You will rise above the competition. You will create opportunities that others only dream about. You will build a life that most people will never experience. Because success is not about luck. It is not about talent. It is about how hard you are willing to work. And that is the secret to unstoppable success. Hard work is not a one-time event. It is not something you do for a few weeks or months and then expect to see results. Hard work is a lifestyle. It is a mindset. It is a daily decision to push yourself, especially when you don't feel like it. Most people think that success is about big moments. They believe that one big break, one lucky opportunity, one perfect decision is what separates the successful from the average. But that is not how it works. Success is not built on big moments. It is built on the small, consistent actions you take every single day. Most people never succeed because they are inconsistent. They work hard when they feel motivated. They push themselves when things are exciting. But as soon as the excitement fades, as soon as things get difficult, as soon as they face resistance, they stop. They slow down. They look for an easier path. And that is why most people never make it. Because success is not about working hard when it is easy. It is about working hard when it is difficult. It is about showing up when you are tired. It is about executing even when you are not seeing results yet. The people who succeed at the highest level are not the ones who always feel motivated. They are the ones who have trained themselves to work when they are tired, to push when they feel empty, to execute even when there is no external reward. And that is why so few people make it, because that level of discipline is rare. Most people are controlled by their emotions. If they feel tired, they stop. If they feel discouraged, they give up. If they feel unmotivated, they slow down. But the people who win, they are not controlled by their emotions. They are controlled by their commitment to their vision. Most people think that hard work is about intensity, about pushing yourself to the limit once in a while, about working so hard for a few days that you collapse from exhaustion. But that is not real hard work. Real hard work is not about intensity. It is about consistency. It is about showing up every single day and doing the work, even when you are not getting immediate results. It is about making progress, little by little, day after day, until you create so much momentum that success becomes inevitable. This is why most people fail. They work hard for a while, but when they do not see results fast enough, they quit. They convince themselves that it is not working. They start looking for a shortcut. They tell themselves that maybe success is not meant for them. But the truth is, they gave up too soon. They stopped working before the breakthrough happened. They slowed down when they should have been pushing harder. They let their emotions override their discipline. And that is why they failed. But you will not make that mistake, because you now understand that success is not about immediate gratification. It is about long-term consistency. It is about staying committed even when you are not seeing progress yet. It is about trusting the process, even when the results have not shown up. It is about waking up every day and doing the work, not because you feel like it, but because you made a commitment to yourself. This means you must stop waiting for motivation, because motivation is not reliable. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you will feel motivated, some days you will not. But that cannot determine how you work, because if you are only willing to work hard when you feel like it, you will never make it. Success is about discipline, not motivation. Discipline is doing the work even when you're tired, even when you're discouraged, even when you are doubting yourself, especially when you are doubting yourself. This means you must stop making excuses, because excuses are the easiest way to justify failure. Most people do not want to admit that they are not working hard enough, so they create excuses. They blame their schedule, they blame their circumstances, they blame other people, they say they do not have enough time, they say they are too tired, they say it is too difficult. But none of that matters. The only thing that matters is whether or not you are willing to do the work. And if you are willing to work harder than everyone else, you will win. Most people give up when things get difficult. But the truth is, the hard days matter most. The days when you are tired, when you are discouraged, when you feel like quitting, those are the days that define you. Those are the days that separate the successful from the average. Anyone can work hard when things are going well. Anyone can stay motivated when they are winning. But the people who win in the long run are the ones who keep working when things are not working yet. The ones who keep showing up when no one else is watching. The ones who push through the discomfort and keep executing when everyone else has stopped. And this is where most people fail. They work hard until it gets difficult, until they hit a wall, until they face resistance, and then they stop. But the people who succeed, they push through the wall. They keep going even when it feels impossible. They refuse to quit even when their mind is telling them to slow down, because they understand that the breakthrough always comes after the resistance. That the moment when you feel like quitting is the exact moment when you need to push harder. This means you must become comfortable with discomfort. Most people avoid discomfort. They want success to be easy. They want to feel good while they are working. They want to feel motivated, energized, and inspired every day. But that is not how success works. Success requires you to push yourself into discomfort, to work when you are tired, to execute when you are frustrated, to stay focused when you are distracted, to keep going even when you feel like you have nothing left to give. Hard work is not glamorous. It is not fun. It is not comfortable. It is early mornings and late nights. It is long hours of focused execution. It is saying no to distractions. It is sacrificing short-term comfort for long-term success. It is training your mind to stay locked in when everything around you is pulling you off track. And if you can master that, if you can become the kind of person who works harder, longer, and more consistently than anyone else, you will win. Not because you are the most talented, not because you had the best opportunities, but because you outworked everyone else. Most people will not do this. Most people will stay comfortable. Most people will make excuses. Most people will work hard for a little while, but then stop when it gets hard. And that is why most people will stay average. But you're not most people. You will wake up every day and do the work. You will push yourself harder than everyone else. You will outlast the competition. You will sacrifice comfort for progress. And because of that, success will become inevitable. Not because you are lucky, not because you are talented, but because you were willing to do the work when no one else was. Most people want success, but they are not willing to go through the process that success requires. They want the rewards, but they do not want to endure the discomfort. They want the results, but they are not willing to push through the resistance. And that is why they stay stuck. Because the truth is, success is not about how much you want it. It is about how much you are willing to suffer for it. Most people want to win, but they are not willing to bleed for it. They are not willing to sacrifice for it. They are not willing to endure the pain that comes with leveling up. This is where the separation happens. Everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants to have more money, more freedom, more opportunity. Everyone wants to be great, but most people are not willing to go through the pain, the discomfort, and the sacrifice that greatness demands. Most people give up as soon as it gets hard. They want success to be convenient. They want progress without resistance, but that is not how it works. Success is not given. It is earned, and the price is pain. The question is not, do you want to succeed? The question is, are you willing to suffer for it? Are you willing to wake up early when you feel exhausted? Are you willing to stay late when you are tired? Are you willing to keep working even when you are not seeing results? Are you willing to endure the rejection, the setbacks, the failures, and still keep going? Because that is the price. That is what separates those who win from those who quit. Most people start strong. They get excited about their goals. They feel motivated at first. They push hard for a few weeks or months. But when things get difficult, they slow down. They start questioning themselves. They convince themselves that maybe it is not meant to be. But the truth is, it is not that they are not capable. It is that they are not willing to pay the price. They want success to come easily. They want to win without the struggle. And because of that, they never reach their full potential. But the people who succeed at the highest level, they expect the struggle. They know that growth requires discomfort. They understand that every setback is part of the process. And instead of resisting it, instead of complaining about it, they embrace it. They push through it. They know that the hard days matter most. They know that how they respond when things get difficult will determine whether they succeed or fail. And because of that, they never quit. They never slow down. They never lower their standards. They keep working, no matter what. Most people want guarantees. They want to know that their hard work will pay off. They want to know that if they keep working, they will get the result they want. But that is not how success works. There are no guarantees. You can do everything right and still fail. You can work harder than everyone else and still lose. And most people cannot handle that truth. Most people need certainty. They need to know that their work will lead to success. And when they do not see immediate results, they stop. They give up. They convince themselves that it is not working. But the people who win, they work without guarantees. They push themselves even when the results are not showing up yet. They stay disciplined even when they feel like they are moving in circles. They keep executing even when it feels like nothing is working. Because they understand that success is not about immediate results. It is about creating momentum. And once you create momentum, success becomes inevitable. But you cannot create momentum if you're not willing to endure the resistance. This is why so few people succeed, because they stop too soon. They work hard for a while, but when they do not see results fast enough, they slow down. They think that maybe they need to try something else. They think that maybe they're not cut out for this. They start doubting themselves, and instead of pushing harder, they stop. But the truth is, most people quit right before the breakthrough happens. They give up when they are one step away from winning. And that is why most people never reach their potential, because they quit before the momentum kicks in. You cannot afford to make that mistake, because now you understand that success is about endurance. It is about lasting longer than everyone else. It is about showing up every day and doing the work, even when you are tired, even when you are frustrated, even when you are doubting yourself. It is about trusting the process, even when you do not see results yet. Because the truth is, results come last. The work comes first. And if you are not willing to work without immediate results, you will never win. This means you must stop attaching your work to the outcome. Most people are motivated by the reward. They want to see the result. They want to know that their effort is paying off. And when they do not see results fast enough, they stop working. But the people who succeed, they are not motivated by the outcome. They are motivated by the process. They work hard, not because they expect immediate results, but because they know that the process will eventually create success. They trust the work. They trust the struggle. They trust the discomfort. And that is why they win. Most people will never understand this. They will tell you that you are working too hard. They will tell you to slow down. They will say that you are putting too much pressure on yourself. And if you listen to them, you will stay stuck. Because the truth is, most people do not want you to win. Most people want you to stay at their level, because your growth exposes their laziness. Your progress forces them to confront the fact that they could have done more, but they chose not to. And instead of raising their standards, they will try to convince you to lower yours. That is why you must protect your vision. You must protect your energy. You must protect your work ethic. You cannot let the opinions of other people dictate how hard you work. You cannot let the doubts of others pull you off track. You cannot let their comfort slow down your progress. If they want to stay comfortable, that is their choice. But you have already made your decision. You have already committed to becoming the best version of yourself. And that means you will not slow down. You will not let anyone pull you off track. You will keep working, no matter what. This means you must become ruthless about your standards. Most people lower their standards to match the people around them. They see others taking shortcuts, so they start cutting corners too. They see others slacking off, so they start relaxing. But the people who win, they raise the bar. They set a new standard for themselves. They hold themselves to a higher level of execution than anyone else. And that is why they win. Not because they are more talented, not because they got lucky, but because they refuse to lower their standards. This is why hard work matters. Not because it guarantees success, but because it creates a foundation that cannot be shaken. When you work harder than everyone else, when you push yourself to exhaustion, when you execute with discipline and focus every single day, you build confidence, you build strength, you build momentum. And once you have that, success is no longer a question of if, it is a question of when. Most people have no idea how close they are to success when they give up. They stop working, not because they are not capable, but because they convince themselves that it is not working. They think that the lack of results means they are on the wrong path. But the truth is, results come last. Growth happens in silence. Progress happens beneath the surface. And the only way to see the results is to stay consistent long enough for the breakthrough to happen. Most people quit before that moment. They give up when things feel stagnant. They stop working when it seems like nothing is changing. But the reality is, if they had kept going just a little longer, the momentum would have kicked in. This is why success requires patience. Most people are addicted to speed. They want instant results. They want to see progress immediately. They want to know that their work is paying off. And when it does not happen fast enough, they start looking for a shortcut. They jump from one strategy to the next. They stop trusting the process. And when they do this, they sabotage the momentum that was building beneath the surface. Success is not about speed. It is about consistency. It is about staying focused and committed long enough for the work to start producing results. The people who succeed at the highest level understand this. They are not focused on immediate results. They are focused on building momentum. They know that results are the byproduct of consistent action over time. They understand that the early stages of growth are the hardest because that is when the resistance is strongest. And they know that if they can push through that resistance, if they can keep working when most people quit, they will separate themselves from everyone else. Success is not about doing the work when it is easy. It is about doing the work when it feels pointless, when you are tired, when you are discouraged, when you feel like you are not making progress. That is when it matters most. Most people think that the hardest part of success is starting, but it is not. The hardest part is staying consistent when nothing is happening yet. The hardest part is showing up when you feel like you are wasting your time. But that is the difference between those who win and those who do not. The winners keep going, no matter what. This is why you must learn to trust the process. Most people quit because they do not trust that the process is working. They want guarantees. They want to know that their hard work will pay off. But there are no guarantees. The only thing you can control is your effort. And the people who succeed are the ones who trust the work. They stay committed even when the results are not showing up yet. They understand that consistency creates momentum. And once the momentum kicks in, it becomes unstoppable. Most people never get to that point because they give up too soon. They stop working when the results are not coming fast enough. They start questioning themselves. They convince themselves that maybe they are doing something wrong. But the truth is, there is nothing wrong with the process. They just stopped working too soon. They allowed their emotions to override their discipline. They allowed their doubts to slow them down. They allowed the discomfort of uncertainty to pull them off track. But you will not make that mistake, because you now understand that success is not about how you feel. It is about how you execute. It is about working hard when you feel confident and when you feel insecure. And it is about showing up when you feel inspired and when you feel discouraged. It is about doing the work when you feel like you are making progress and when you feel like you are stuck in place. Because the truth is, progress is happening, even when you cannot see it. The breakthrough is coming, even when it feels like nothing is working. And if you keep working long enough, you will reach a point where the results will come faster than you ever imagined. Most people are not patient enough to reach that point. They expect success to come quickly. They think that if they are working hard, the results should follow immediately. And when that does not happen, they stop. But the reality is, there's a delay between action and outcome. The work you are doing today may not produce results for weeks or months or even years. But that does not mean it is not working. That does not mean you are not getting better. That does not mean you are not building momentum. The work you are doing today is setting the foundation for your future success. And the only way to see that success is to keep going. This is why discipline matters more than motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you will feel energized. Some days you will feel tired. Some days you will feel confident. Some days you will feel discouraged. But discipline is what allows you to keep working regardless of how you feel. Discipline is what keeps you focused when distractions show up. Discipline is what allows you to push through the discomfort, the setbacks, and the failures. And the people who win are not the ones who feel motivated every day. They are the ones who have mastered the art of discipline. Most people think that successful people are motivated all the time, but that is not true. Successful people have just trained themselves to work without motivation. They have built the habit of execution. They have conditioned themselves to perform at a high level, even when they feel tired, even when they feel discouraged, even when things are not working yet. And that is why they win. Because they are not controlled by their emotions. They are controlled by their commitment to the work. This means you must stop expecting quick results, because success is not about speed, it is about momentum. And momentum takes time to build. It requires you to stay consistent through the early stages of doubt and uncertainty. It requires you to trust the process even when you are not seeing results yet. And most people cannot do that. Most people need to see progress to stay motivated. But the people who win, they stay focused even when there's no visible progress. They stay locked in even when it looks like nothing is working, because they know that results always follow effort, eventually. This is why most people will stay average, because they are too addicted to comfort. They are too controlled by their emotions. They are too impatient to trust the process. They work hard for a little while, but when they do not see results fast enough, they stop. They slow down. They convince themselves that maybe it is not working. But you are different. You will not make that mistake. You will stay focused. You will stay disciplined. You will stay committed, even when it feels like nothing is happening, because you understand that progress is not always visible, but it is always happening beneath the surface. And when the breakthrough happens, when the momentum finally kicks in, it will happen fast. The results will come quickly. The progress will compound. The opportunities will start showing up. But that can only happen if you stay committed through the early stages. It can only happen if you keep working when most people stop. It can only happen if you are disciplined enough to stay consistent when most people quit. And that is why you will win. Because you are not most people. You are willing to work harder, longer, and more consistently than anyone else. And that is the secret to unstoppable success. The moment you start to make progress, the moment you begin to separate yourself from the average, the resistance will increase. Not just from within, but from the outside. People will start to question you. They will wonder why you are working so hard. They will say you are obsessed. They will tell you to relax, to take a break, to slow down. They will say you are doing too much. And if you are not mentally strong, if you are not clear about your vision, you will start to believe them. You will start questioning yourself. You will start wondering if maybe they are right, but they are not. They are just uncomfortable watching you grow. When you start to work harder than everyone else, you disrupt the balance. You make other people uncomfortable because your progress reminds them of their lack of progress. Your work ethic exposes their excuses. Your discipline highlights their lack of consistency. And instead of raising their standards, most people will try to pull you back to their level. Not because they want to hurt you, but because your growth is forcing them to confront their own limitations. And most people are not ready to do that. This is why you must become mentally bulletproof. You cannot let the opinions of other people dictate how hard you work. You cannot let their doubts weaken your resolve. You cannot let their insecurities slow you down. Because the truth is, most people will never understand your level of commitment. Most people are comfortable living average lives. Most people are comfortable doing just enough to get by. And when they see you working harder, when they see you pushing yourself past your limits, when they see you waking up early and staying late, they will question you. They will doubt you. They will criticize you. But that is not your problem. It is not your job to make other people comfortable with your growth. It is not your job to make them understand why you are working so hard. It is not your job to explain why you are choosing discipline over comfort. Your only job is to stay focused on your vision. Your only job is to keep working. Your only job is to keep executing day after day, no matter who supports you and no matter who doubts you. Because at the end of the day, success is not a team sport. You are not working for their approval. You are working for your future. This is why you must develop tunnel vision. You cannot afford to be distracted by what other people are saying. You cannot afford to be pulled off track by the opinions of others. Most people do not understand what it takes to succeed at the highest level. And that is why most people never make it. They want to be liked. They want to fit in. They want to be accepted. And because of that, they compromise their standards. They lower their ambition. They stop working as hard because they are afraid of losing relationships. But the people who win, they are not worried about being liked. They are not worried about fitting in. They are not worried about losing people. They are focused on one thing: winning. Most people will tell you that you are taking life too seriously. They will tell you that you are working too hard. They will tell you that you need to relax, take it easy, slow down. But the truth is, they are only saying that because they do not have the courage to push themselves. They are trying to project their comfort onto you. They want you to slow down so they feel better about staying in the same place. But you cannot afford to slow down. You cannot afford to drop your standards just to make other people feel more comfortable. You cannot afford to lower your ambition to match the level of people who are not even trying. This means you must stop seeking validation. Most people need to be validated. They need to be supported. They need to know that the people around them understand why they are working so hard. But that need for validation will slow you down. That need for approval will weaken your resolve. That need to be understood will make you hesitate. And hesitation is what kills progress. Because when you hesitate, you lose momentum. And once you lose momentum, you open the door to doubt. Doubt is the enemy of success. It creeps in when you slow down. It shows up when you second guess yourself. It takes over when you stop trusting your path. And doubt does not show up all at once. It shows up little by little. It starts when you skip a workout. It starts when you start listening to the opinions of people who are not even working toward their own goals. It starts when you stop trusting your vision and start wondering if maybe you're doing too much. But that is how you lose. Not because you are not capable, but because you allowed doubt to weaken your discipline. But you are not going to let that happen, because you now understand that doubt only exists when you hesitate. And the solution to doubt is action. When you are moving, when you are executing, when you are focused on the work. Doubt cannot survive when you are locked in, when you are working harder than everyone else, when you are pushing yourself to exhaustion. There is no room for doubt. There is no room for insecurity. There is no room for fear because you are too busy working. This means you must create a work ethic so strong that doubt cannot survive. You must create momentum so powerful that hesitation is no longer an option. You must push yourself so hard that the people around you start to question your sanity. You must build such a strong foundation of discipline and execution that nothing can pull you off track. Because once you reach that level, you become unstoppable. Most people never reach this point because they are too controlled by how they feel. They think that if they are tired, they should stop. They think that if they are discouraged, they should take a break. They think that if they are not seeing results, they should change direction. But the people who win, they keep going no matter how they feel. They stay focused no matter what distractions show up. They trust the work, no matter how long it takes for the results to appear. And that is why they win, because they have mastered the art of outlasting everyone else. This is the reality of success. It is not about being the smartest. It is not about being the most talented. It is about being the most consistent, the most focused, the most disciplined. It is about working harder than everyone else, not just for a week, not just for a month, but for years. It is about setting a standard so high for yourself that most people cannot even comprehend what you are doing. And if you can stay locked in at that level, if you can stay committed to that level of execution, success becomes inevitable. Because success is not about luck. It is not about natural talent. It is not about being in the right place at the right time. It is about how hard you are willing to work. It is about how much you are willing to endure. It is about how long you're willing to stay disciplined when most people are quitting. And the people who win are not the ones who get lucky. They are not the ones who have natural talent. They are the ones who work harder than everyone else, day after day, year after year, until success becomes inevitable. The real test of success is not how you perform when things are going well. It is how you respond when everything starts falling apart. When you hit setbacks, when you face rejection, when nothing seems to be working. Most people can work hard when they are winning. Most people can stay motivated when things are going their way. But the people who win at the highest level, they're the ones who keep working when everything is falling apart. They're the ones who stay focused when the pressure is at its highest. They're the ones who keep showing up day after day, even when they are not seeing results. This is where most people fail. They work hard until things get difficult. They push themselves until they hit a wall. They stay disciplined until they face rejection. And when that happens, they stop. They slow down. They convince themselves that maybe they are not cut out for this. They think that maybe success is not meant for them. But the truth is, they quit too soon. They gave up right before the breakthrough was about to happen. They slowed down when they should have been pushing harder. And because of that, they never reached their potential. The people who win, they push harder when things get difficult. They increase the pressure when setbacks show up. They raise their standards when the resistance increases, because they understand that success is not about how you perform when things are easy. It is about how you respond when things get hard. Anyone can work hard when they are motivated, but the real test is whether you can stay locked in when the motivation fades, when the excitement wears off, when the results are not showing up yet. That is the test. And the people who win are the ones who pass that test every single time. This is why most people never break through, because they expect success to come easily. They think that if they are working hard, the results should follow immediately. And when that does not happen, they stop. They slow down. They convince themselves that maybe they are doing something wrong. But the reality is, results come last. The work always comes first. The discipline always comes first. The consistency always comes first. And if you are not willing to put in the work before you see the results, you will never win. Most people live their lives reacting to their circumstances. They allow their work ethic to be dictated by how they feel. If they feel motivated, they work hard. If they feel discouraged, they stop. If things are going well, they push harder. If things are not working, they slow down. But that is why most people never succeed, because they are allowing their emotions to control their work ethic. The people who win, they work regardless of how they feel. They execute regardless of the circumstances. They stay focused regardless of the outcome, because they know that success is not about feelings. It is about discipline. This is why you must become emotionally unbreakable. You cannot allow setbacks to weaken you. You cannot allow rejection to slow you down. You cannot allow the discomfort of uncertainty to pull you off track. Most people are controlled by their emotions. They stop working when they feel discouraged. They slow down when they feel tired. They give up when things get difficult. But you are different. You are not controlled by how you feel. You are controlled by your commitment to your vision. This means you must stop overthinking. Most people talk themselves out of success because they overanalyze everything. They wait for the perfect time. They wait for the perfect plan. They try to calculate every outcome before they take action. And when they do this, they create hesitation. They create doubt. They create fear. But the people who win, they do not hesitate. They do not overthink. They do not wait for the perfect time. They trust the work. They trust the process. They take action even when they are not sure how it will work out, because they understand that momentum is created through action, not through thinking. Most people are paralyzed by indecision. They are stuck because they are trying to figure out the best strategy. They are wasting time trying to find the perfect plan. But the truth is, there is no perfect plan. The only way to figure out what works is to start working. The only way to gain clarity is to take action. The only way to know if something is going to work is to execute. And the people who win are the ones who are willing to take action, even when they are uncertain. They are willing to make decisions even when they do not have all the answers, because they understand that clarity comes through action, not through overthinking. This means you must become decisive. Most people hesitate because they are afraid of making the wrong decision. They are afraid of failing. They are afraid of looking foolish. But the people who win, they understand that hesitation is more dangerous than failure. Because when you hesitate, you lose momentum. And when you lose momentum, you open the door to doubt. The people who win are not the ones who make perfect decisions. They are the ones who make decisions quickly and adjust as they go. They understand that failure is part of the process. They know that making a wrong decision is better than making no decision at all. Because when you make a wrong decision, you learn. But when you hesitate, you stay stuck. This means you must get comfortable with failure. Most people are afraid of failure. They see failure as a sign that they are not capable. They see failure as a sign that they are doing something wrong. But the people who win, they understand that failure is feedback. Failure is data. Failure is a necessary part of growth. Every time you fail, you learn something. Every time you fail, you get better. Every time you fail, you strengthen your resilience. And the people who win are the ones who are willing to fail over and over again, because they understand that failure is the path to success. Most people never succeed because they are not willing to fail. They want to be perfect. They want to avoid mistakes. They want to make sure everything works out perfectly before they take action. But the people who win, they are not trying to be perfect. They are trying to get better. They are not trying to avoid failure. They are using failure as a tool for improvement. They understand that every mistake, every setback, every failure is making them stronger, smarter, and more capable. And that is why they win. Because they are not trying to avoid failure. They are learning from it. This is the mindset that creates unstoppable success. Not perfection, not motivation, not luck, but discipline, resilience, and an unbreakable work ethic. It is the ability to work harder than everyone else, to endure more discomfort than everyone else, and to keep showing up when most people have already quit. It is the ability to stay locked in, to stay focused, to stay disciplined, no matter how you feel, no matter what distractions show up, no matter how long it takes for the results to appear. Because you now understand that success is not about speed. It is about endurance. Success is not about talent. It is about consistency. Success is not about luck. It is about discipline. And if you are willing to work harder, longer, and more consistently than everyone else, success becomes inevitable. At this point, the message should be clear. Success is not about talent. It is not about luck. It is not about waiting for the perfect opportunity or hoping that things will fall into place. Success is about how hard you are willing to work, how disciplined you are willing to be, how long you are willing to stay committed even when things are not working yet. Most people will never experience real success because they are not willing to pay that price. They work hard for a while, but when it gets difficult, when the results are not coming fast enough, when they start facing resistance, they slow down, they hesitate, they stop. And that is why they stay average. Not because they are not capable, but because they are not consistent. The truth is, you already know what you need to do. You already know the work that needs to be done. You already know the habits you need to build. You already know the changes you need to make. The problem is not knowledge. The problem is execution. Most people know what they need to do, but they do not have the discipline to follow through. They do not have the consistency to keep working when things get hard. They do not have the mental strength to stay focused when distractions show up. And that is why they fail. Not because they are not smart enough, not because they are not talented enough, but because they are not disciplined enough. You cannot afford to make that mistake. You cannot afford to slow down when things get difficult. You cannot afford to hesitate when doubt creeps in. You cannot afford to let setbacks weaken your resolve. Because you now understand that success is not about feelings. It is about decisions. It is about deciding to stay committed when you feel tired. It is about deciding to keep working when the results are not showing up yet. It is about deciding to trust the process, even when it feels like nothing is happening. That is the difference between those who win and those who do not. The winners are not the ones who are more talented. They are the ones who are more committed, the ones who work harder, the ones who endure more, the ones who refuse to quit. And this is where most people fail. They expect motivation to carry them. They expect inspiration to keep them going. But motivation fades. Inspiration fades. And when that happens, most people stop. They slow down. They lose momentum. But the people who win, They keep working even when the motivation disappears. They keep executing even when they are not feeling inspired, because they understand that success is not about how you feel. It is about what you do. And the people who win are the ones who keep doing the work, no matter what. The reality is, you will face resistance. You will face setbacks. You will face failure. That is part of the process. That is part of the journey. But if you stay committed, if you keep working, even when it is difficult, eventually the momentum will shift. Eventually the results will come. Eventually the opportunities will appear. But that only happens if you are disciplined enough to outlast the resistance. It only happens if you're consistent enough to create momentum. It only happens if you're willing to work harder, longer, and more consistently than anyone else. That is the price of success. That is the difference between those who win and those who stay average. And if you are not willing to pay that price, you will never reach your full potential. The question is simple. Are you willing to work harder than everyone else? Are you willing to wake up every day and push yourself even when you are tired? Are you willing to stay focused even when distractions show up? Are you willing to keep going even when you feel like nothing is working? Because if you are not willing to do that, you will not win. Success is not about desire. It is about execution. Success is not about wanting it. It is about proving it. Success is not about motivation. It is about discipline. And the people who win are the ones who are willing to keep working when most people stop. This is why you must become ruthless about your standards. Most people lower their standards when things get hard. They slow down when they start to face resistance. They settle for average when they realize that success requires sacrifice. But the people who win, they never lower their standards. They never slow down. They never stop pushing. They raise the bar for themselves, even when things are difficult. They expect more from themselves, even when they're tired. They hold themselves to a higher level of execution, even when no one else is watching. And that is why they win, because they have built a standard for themselves that most people cannot maintain. This is why you must stop worrying about the opinions of other people. Most people are not going to understand your work ethic. Most people are not going to understand why you are pushing yourself so hard. Most people are not going to understand why you are choosing discipline over comfort. But that is not your problem. Their understanding is not required for your success. Their approval is not necessary for your progress. The people who win are the ones who are willing to be misunderstood. They are willing to be doubted. They are willing to be criticized because they understand that success is not about being liked. It is about winning. So from this moment forward, you stop explaining yourself. You stop seeking validation. You stop waiting for approval. You stay locked in on your vision. You stay focused on your process. You stay committed to your discipline. No matter what shows up, no matter how tired you feel, no matter how much resistance you face, you keep working. You keep executing. You keep showing up, because the people who win are not the most talented. They are the ones who refuse to quit. The people who win are not the smartest. They are the ones who work the hardest. And if you are willing to stay focused, if you are willing to keep pushing, if you are willing to work harder than everyone else, you will win. The truth is, success is already waiting for you. The opportunities are already out there. The results are already possible. The only thing standing between you and the life you want is how hard you are willing to work. Most people will never reach their potential because they are not willing to do what it takes. They are not willing to push through the discomfort. They are not willing to stay disciplined when motivation fades. They are not willing to endure the resistance that comes with growth. But you are different. You are not controlled by how you feel. You are not controlled by the opinions of others. You are not controlled by temporary setbacks. You are controlled by your vision, your discipline, your standard, and that is why you will win. At the end of the day, success is a choice. You can either choose to stay comfortable or you can choose to grow. You can either choose to stay where you are or you can choose to push yourself to the next level. You can either choose to make excuses or you can choose to execute. And the people who win, they are not the ones who had it easy. They are not the ones who were naturally gifted. They are not the ones who had the best resources. They are the ones who made the decision to work harder than everyone else. Every single day, no matter how they felt, no matter what distractions showed up, no matter how difficult it got, they made the decision to keep going. And that is why they won. So now it is your turn. The path is already there. The opportunities are already waiting. The question is, are you willing to work hard enough to reach them? Are you willing to push yourself harder than everyone else? Are you willing to stay disciplined when things get difficult? Because if you stay locked in, if you keep working, if you keep pushing, success becomes inevitable. Not because you got lucky, not because you are talented, but because you were willing to work harder than everyone else. And that is the secret to unstoppable success.